Hello guys, and welcome back to another recap of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. Today we are going to be talking about the latest episode for Nokyo, and just letting you guys know, I wasn't really excited about this episode, but we're gonna make it exciting, okay? Now to start off, we're gonna be talking about Angela and Michael. So the moment that Post said this, that Angela looked like Trump's sister from Another Mistress, I cannot get it out of my head. So we're gonna be calling her that today. Trump's sister from Another Mistress made Michael incredibly frustrated to the point where you can tell from his facial expressions that he cannot do this anymore. You can tell that his feelings are hurt, that he's so fed up with this. And even after feeling horrible, he goes over to Angela and tells her, honey, please, I need you to understand that this is already way too much. We only have to wait 2 weeks and there's nothing that I can do about it. Do we think that Angela is going to understand this? No. Why would she?
I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear.
I'm telling you.
I want you to tell me what I need to know.
She's like, no, tell me the truth, not what you think I want to hear, because she's not getting the answers that she wants to hear. And now has decided to leave Michael by himself and take a cab to go back home.
Angie.
I'm going to home. Where's the taxi? Are you a taxi?
Angie.
Can you take me to Capitol, please?
Bitch.
You guys know the same lady that was just telling us she feels bad for letting him go by himself? Well, that's the same lady. Once she gets to the hotel, she calls her daughter, Skyla, I believe, and she's already asking her, did he get the visa? No, he didn't. But technically, they are investigating the reason why he got denied in his previous visa. Skyla is all surprised, and when Angela tells her that Michael moved at the visa interview, she jumps to her favorite excuse. He's using you, he's scamming you. And I'm just like, excuse me?
You really need to figure out what's going on. Mama, you hanging on to something that it's too hard to hang on and it's not worth it.
She then tells Angela that she needs to figure out if he's only coming here to take advantage of her and, you know, get the visa. And that's exactly what she wants to do now.
The lies never stop. All these things just keep coming at me. And it's starting to make me think, is he scamming me?
So there's a knock on the door and Angela is all surprised.
Who the is that, man? Who is it?
It's your husband. Who else would it be? Michael right away tries to apologize, but Angela gets all mad and goes. Michael again tells her we just need to wait, but she continues to interrupt him like she always does. She looks at him and goes, you're still my husband. You're still my husband, but you stay here.
Don't say a word. Don't say, you're still my husband. Michael?
Okay.
And then she tells him, if you need to pee, can't get out the door, because she doesn't want him in the room. Michael has aged so much since he has been with Angela, and also shares that this is just way too exhausting. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen on the next episode, because according to Angela, if he leaves her with one shred of doubt that he has been scamming her the entire time, then it's game over. Michael, you need to get it together, okay? Now let's go check if Jasmine is going to throw another smoothie at him. It turns out that they have not spoken since their last fight, and today they have a very important event, their yearly family reunion.
I don't want to be arguing and fighting in front of my family. That's all I'm asking. I'm not.
He's hoping that she can change her mood to the point where it doesn't look like they are fighting. I don't know, but usually when you tell someone to change their mood, they don't do it.
You're not planning acting like this at the reunion, are you? Ignoring me, you know, the feeling of tension between us.
She is wondering if Gino is going to apologize for calling her crazy and insane, even though those are true words. And Gino's like, well, you're the one that needs to apologize for your behavior, for your actions, and for coming off ungrateful. He starts telling her, you threw a smoothie at my brand new shoes. You got them all dirty. She tells him, I threw them at the floor and you happened to be there. So technically, it's your fault.
That's not how a woman acts.
Listen.
She then tells him, the moment that I exploded was because I felt like a dog and you have all this power over me. Same story. And then Gino tells her to please stop acting like he's the one with all the power when it's not true. And he tells her that she needs to start appreciating all the things that he does for you. Jasmine then says, that if she hears the word appreciation one more time, she is going to lose her mind. I'm pretty sure that's the case, but I do think that Jasmine at times does come off a little ungrateful, like when she spent the wedding dress money or when she asked her ex for money. However, don't get me wrong, I also think that Gino is full of it. He knew since day one what he was getting from Jasmine. I mean, didn't they start talking on a sugar baby website? You know, it's not difficult to see and connect one with one. And then when it comes to him not having a job and staying home, he said that he was gonna help her establish herself. He was the one that wanted to quit his job to help her adjust to the US. What is he doing other than taking care of her? Is he appreciating her being here? I don't think so. Then when Gino tells her again, please just try to be nice today, and then
you say try, but if I don't act accordingly, you get mad at me. And
she tells him that he's putting expectations on her that only one person in the world can do.
Mother, and that's the only person whose expectations I care about. The rest of the world.
And this is another instance where her kids really don't matter. Take note of the lack of commentary regarding her children in this statement.
I left my country, one of the nicest countries in the world with the best weather.
And I'm just wondering, is there ever going to be a day where Gino realizes that coming to the US for a lot of people, it's not an amazing journey? We leave our culture, our family, our friends, our home, literally to experience loneliness and feeling like we don't belong anywhere. If you guys go back to one of my first videos, I talk about having this feeling of not belonging anywhere and how it has affected me growing up. So yes, Gino needs to stop acting like he's doing Jasmine a favor. And then he asks her for help to carry all the food to the car, but she's not helping him, and I don't blame her. Now they're off to the reunion. And if I had to hear this, then you guys have to hear it too. Gino says that it is a tradition to play Italian music, and Jasmine's like, Italian music?
I'm not an expert, but that's not Italian music playing.
But then they get into introducing Jasmine to more of the family members, and they're like, here's Tony and Tony and Tony and Tony. Then Dana asked Jasmine how her birthday was, and she's like, oh my God, we went to Miami and I loved it. Also, I signed up for a beauty pageant, but Gino told me that I can't do it. Right away, Gino's like, I didn't tell you you couldn't do it. I said I needed to figure out a way to get money together. Sandy is asking how much money it was, and when he says 1,200, Michelle tells him that that's not too much. It might not be too much for you, but it is for some people.
To be honest, everything went down to drain after we came back from Miami.
That their marriage is not going well, and that she feels like she is at Gino's mercy and cannot do things that she would have been able to do if she was in Panama. Jasmine is not going to sit there and pretend that everything is going well, because she knows things in their marriage are not looking too good. I also think that she's also hoping that when she expresses how she feels, Gino's family is going to side with her, and he is not happy about it.
She hasn't really been doing anything here.
She hasn't been out, she hasn't wasted money. Gino goes, but I took her to the movies the other day, and I took her to the gym every day, you know, that's the law. And Michelle, again, being the voice of reasoning, is like,
it could be a lot, but she actually flew from Panama to the United States to live here. So driving her to the gym really isn't that.
It's hard not to agree with her, because at most a gym run is about 2 hours and you are jobless right now. So are you telling me that you can't spare 2 hours of your day for Jasmine when that was your entire purpose, to help her navigate her life in the US? I did not anticipate Gino's family to side with Jasmine at all, but here we are. Jasmine tells everyone that since they got back, Gino completely changed towards her, and this is where he decides again to bring up their sex life.
That's wearing me out to the point where I have a hard time being intimate with you because all the hurtful things you say to me.
Talking about marital issues is a normal thing to do. I might not necessarily agree with letting all your family know at a reunion about all your problems, but bringing up your intimacy, that's a different level of disrespect. This is completely going to change the mood of the night. And once they go back home, in my opinion, Jasmine had one purpose only, which is to upset Gino. So she tells him, I enjoy the family reunion. And he's like, oh, yeah, it could have been better. I don't think that you should be airing out our personal problems out like that. And Jasmine tells him, well, now your family knows who you really are. They know who you have become.
My family, I think, understood me when I said you say very, very hurtful things that really, really affect my affection with you.
Here, they are going tit for tat at each other. You're the one that talked about this, you're the one that talked about this, you're the one that did this. And they just continue going at each other over and over again.
The truth is, Gino complains about me yelling at him. But this is the gaslighter on Gino. He always makes me yell at him so that he has an excuse to avoid having sex with me.
Let's just rewind a bit down memory lane. When you guys were trying to have a baby, which was right after the wedding, around the honeymoon, you guys were having issues because Jasmine didn't want to have a child with him because you were hiding it from him. And then when you guys were on your honeymoon, apparently you guys were having sex nonstop. According to Jasmine, Gino is trying to blame her for their lack of intimacy because of her yelling, when in reality, it is him, the one that has a problem. She tells him to stop putting makeup on the real sexual problem that he has. And Gino says it's not a sexual problem. Jasmine tells him, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Gino says, I already told you what the real problem is. And then Jasmine says this.
It
Are you
is
deaf?
your addiction to pornography.
Gino becomes really defensive and hurt, and I feel him. There's plenty of stigma around sex. And what I personally think is erectile dysfunction when it comes to Gino because of how Jasmine treats him, and your partner who you really trust is airing out the fact that you can't please her in bed. Also, two things can be true at the same time. He can have a porn addiction, and also Jasmine yelling at him can affect his sexual desire. We have seen her breakdowns, and we have seen how she acts when she's upset.
No doubt about they being great, but what about you? Better looking than you, and he has even more money than you.
Yeah.
I wish I have done that last night.
It is to no one's surprise that Gino's mannerism changed, and then he starts erasing his voice. And I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed this, but after she brought up the porn addiction and he started becoming agitated, it's like you could see this expression on her face, like, I did that. I made him upset and I accomplished what I wanted. Now, it is time to talk about Manuel and Ashley. They're off to see a lawyer and discuss a postnup. Ashley tells him, do you know where we are going today? And he's like, oh yeah, but I'm going because you want us to go, not because I really want to go. And Ashley also tells him that if he doesn't understand anything, to just say, I object. And then she makes him practice. Once they arrive, they tell the lawyer that she's here because she knows that two of the main causes of divorce are sex and money. And that Manuel is very secretive. And she's worried that she's not getting as much transparency as needed. Manuel says that he's really starting to see that Ashley is worried about him taking her money away. But he says that he's the one that should be worried because she's the one that spends all the money all the time. Then the lawyer tells him that he has written postnups for couples that are very strong, but it could be for underlying issues. And it seems to be the case for Manuel and Ashley.
What happens if 5 years into the future and we cross the $1 million mark?
Here is where Ashley brings up the business. She's wondering what would happen if her business hits the $1 million mark. What then? Would Manuel be allowed to take half of it? Would he be entitled to anything? And that's exactly what she's trying to prevent right now.
And I don't want him to have any of it unless I give it to him.
I don't necessarily agree with Ashley completely because yes, this is her business, but if Manuel is helping her in any way, then there has to be an agreement where he can get a piece of the cake. I'm not saying half of her business, but a piece, or write up an agreement where he gets a paycheck from it or gets something at the end of it. Manuel also wants to know what would happen if he has a savings account and she doesn't because he's the one that saves and she doesn't? How would that be? How would that play out?
In a traditional sense of a marriage, being a joint financial partnership, you're entitled to half of his savings and he's obligated to pay for half of your debts.
When the lawyer explains this, you can tell that Ashley was like, oh, now you're speaking my language. And even when she says, does that mean that he would inherit my student loan debt? She has a little smirk on her face. But right away, the lawyer tells her, oh no, that is personal property. Manuel, after hearing this, he right away turns around to the translator and is like, am I hearing this right? You said 100K. Are you translating properly?
No. ¿Está traduciendo correcto lo que están hablando ellos?
Am I interpreting correctly what they're talking?
Manuel is now calling Ashley crazy. And Ashley's like, well, you knew already. I had already told you. That is when the lawyer tells him, oh yeah, you don't have to pay for that. And he starts doing a dance and singing. And Ashley's like, well, yeah, that is my student loan debt, for the 3 degrees I have. And Manuel says, which ones? Because you don't even use them. Oh my God.
Tiene 3 títulos distintos. ¿Y en cuál trabaja esos 3 títulos? Pregúntenle.
Ashley says that she uses all 3 because she's a business owner. And to her defense, maybe she has a degree in history, business, and I don't know what else. Manuel does not understand how student loan debt works in the US, where it's made to stay with you for the rest of your life. However, she should have told him a long time ago, because even in his confessional, he shares that knowing now that they are in debt, he doesn't even feel comfortable with the idea of sending money to his family anymore. Even the lawyer tells him that he is not a therapist and that they have issues that they need to resolve outside of his office, and that he is only here to write up the postnup. I actually forgot to say a little side note that the translator was translating everything. The attitude, the surprise faces, everything. I was like, man, he's doing a great job.
¿Ahorrado?
Saved?
¿En dónde?
Where?
Yo ver tu cuenta no.
One thing that he's not.
I actually have this theory that Ashley told Manuel about the postnup, hoping that he would start revealing all the secrets that he has, and it completely backfire on her. But let me know what you guys think. New day, new couple.
John stayed over last night after we got some drinks.
John enjoyed his stay, and right off the bat, he's handed a special job, the dishes. Thais is already mad, and when John comes out, we find out why she's so mad. John ate her birthday cake. Yeah. She then tells him that he left the mess and sends him over to wash the dishes. You see this right here? Here's soap, and this is a sponge, but no way that all those dishes were John's. I think Thais was doing it as if, you're staying here for free, then you have to do something around the house, please. They're getting ready to see the ranch because Patrick wants to have Elise's party there, even though it's 2 hours away from the city. And she also feels like his dad is going to charge him. They start driving and Thais really has to go potty, so they pull over so she can do what she needs to do. John was surprised and also expresses that he wants to go because he doesn't trust Jose. Once they're on the ranch, Jose starts giving Patrick orders of all the things that need to be done around the house. And why does that need to happen?
Because we gotta do the party.
We need to fix the floors, trim the trees, fix the stable. John then takes this time to say, I'm not a psychic, but I knew this would happen. And Patrick is really, really super delusional. Thais tells him, I don't think that's necessary for the party. It's a lot of money, and we also need to buy everything needed for it. The tables, the chairs, the food. But he disagrees and tells him that because he's not charging for the party, then they need to fix everything around the house. Who does that? Who charges their family for a birthday party in their home? Like, seriously. Jonathan tells him, you don't have any money coming in from your properties? And he's like, oh no, I don't have money for that. I have the assets, but not the money. And oh well, if you are a landlord, then you need to take care of all the things that the properties need. It is not your tenant's job to cover all of that. And even John tells him, you are hoarding your money. You got nice clothes, you have properties. John continues to question Jose, and then Jose shares that him and John have never had a good communication.
I don't feel that I ask you too much. That's my son, He didn't help me, who's gonna help me?
and yourself. Thais then asks him, why do you need so much help? And Jose says, probably because I need help with money. So she's like, so we have to support you. And he tells them, no, the apartment supports me. Then why do you need extra money to fix things then? If the apartments are already providing that for you, then why do you need it?
Yeah, I just don't know why you expect so much from him when you weren't even there for him. I think for the first time in my life, I'm on Thais' side.
Patrick is stunned that Thais is making this a big deal. But why wouldn't she? This is her money too. And it's not like Patrick is doing a good job telling his dad no. I'm glad that they are calling him out because this man deserves to be called out. And even with his next statement that Patrick says,
the money means more to him than it does to us.
Money is more important to him. Have you ever really sat down and understood why money is so important to your father? And to be honest with you guys, I was really disappointed in Patrick because he needs to put a stop to his father. And I understand that it might be difficult for him because he wants to create that relationship with him. But there has to be a time where you say, you know, that's it, I can't do this anymore. Because it's going to start affecting your personal life with your wife, with your brother, with your child, and your father is taking advantage of you. Now, back in America, we find out that Tori, which is Rob's friend, has made his way to Texas. He says, you know, when are you coming back to LA? You know, I'm pretty sure you miss the city. And Rob is like, well, I'm thinking I should go back because the reason why I moved here is because I wanted me and Sophie's relationship to work and she's not here. Rob says that he really loves Sophie, but this feels like a very toxic boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. And then he asks him where she's staying. And when he realizes that she's staying with Kate, Tori is like, well, I know I only know one side of the story, but from what you have told me, it seems like she's not any.
She's not as invested as you are in this whole thing if she can't even stay home consistently.
Again, he only knows one side of the story. Rob also shares that Sophie and him have not been intimate since every time they see each other, they end up fighting. And Tori wonders if she's getting it somewhere else. Again, stupid. Rob says, I have tried to address this with her, but all I get is a very firm, of course not. And then Tori also comments that he would want to get his rocks off so he can understand what Sophie is doing. Just a little side note. I know for a lot of men, it might be difficult to understand or it might be difficult to comprehend, but a lot of women don't have the same sex desire that men do. And when they are in a committed relationship with someone, they don't need to get the rocks off with other people just because they're not getting the rocks off with you. Rob also knows that him and Sophie get along incredibly well and they have been through so much, you know. Now Tori is trying to plant seeds into his head that Sophie only came here for a green card and that even if she didn't, she now knows that she will get it. So that's why she's with him.
You don't think like she trying to stay in America? Like at this point?
Tori is telling him, you know, isn't the point of a fiancé visa to be living together? Have you guys filed for the visa already? He's like, she's playing you, she's playing you.
The idea that Sophie's here for a green card is just
stupid. Use your common sense.
And he says that even if that was the point, he would just give it to her because she played him so well to this point. And I personally don't think that Sophie came for the green card. I do think that that is a benefit that she is not going to get for staying with Rob. It's difficult to really look at this relationship and think that it's just because of a green card. Because all of this that Sophie has gone through, she didn't even want to move to the US. She really just did it for Rob and because they wanted to be together and it was just easier and simple for them to move to the US. Here is where Rob shares that he still has hopes for the relationship and Tori is like, oh man, you are totally delusional. You are in the clouds. Rob shares that he just can't cope with having a divorce. But there's some marriages that are meant to be broken. Now, let's go check on Sophie and see how she's doing. Her mom is in town and they're having a girls' night. Claire starts talking about her boy toy and how now they're exes and how she broke a leg and stupid stuff. Sophie is now telling Kay and her mom that she's not sure what to do if she leaves Rob. She knows that she has to leave if she leaves him, which means not getting her visa. And then Kay tells her that if that's the only reason why she's staying here, then she really needs to do a reality check because that can't be the most important thing. Claire also tells her that if the only reason that you're staying with him is because you love him, she's like, only stupid bitches do that, which I'm like, okay. Whatever. She also thinks that she wouldn't be a good mom if she doesn't tell her to leave.
I don't feel like as a mother, I'm being a good mother if I don't say this ain't okay.
Ugh. But Claire, we all know you're not a good mom, you know, after the threats that you made to your daughter. And Rob is not a great man or husband. In her confessional, Sophie starts crying, explaining that before her friends loved Rob, but he has changed so much. He has now become a completely different person. He has this anger inside of him that he never displayed before. And you can tell that she's destroyed. You can really tell that she loves that man even after all the things that he has done to her. Let's cover Kobe and Emily for a quick second. They really have no more drama whatsoever, and they're going to meet Kobe's ex-girlfriend. But this was incredibly disappointing because we didn't even get to resolve this issue.
Which one is she? Tell me now.
It was just pointless, and I think TLC just did a horrible job in this episode by putting so many couples together in one and not giving us conclusions to a lot of them. So hopefully they'll do a better time next episode, because even myself that I have to watch this to cover it for you guys had a really, really hard time getting through the episode because of how boring it was at times. And now it's time for the questions. Do you guys believe that Gino and Jasmine are literally just going at each other's throat to see who's going to give up first? Do we think that Gino actually has a corn addiction? Do we think that Jasmine is ungrateful? Now, what do we think of Ashley's and Manuel's reactions to the postnup? What do we think of Manuel's reaction to the $100,000 in debt for student loans? And the last one, I would love to know what you guys think about Patrick's dad and how he has handled all of this. And let me know if you guys have any experiences that you guys are willing and comfortable sharing in the comments, or even if you don't feel that and you want to send me an email or message me on Instagram, you can go ahead and do so too. If you are looking for ways to support the channel, you can always like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a couple friends, share it with your mom, with your dad, share it with your friends, or you can also buy me a coffee. You can also buy me a coffee. I will go ahead and put the link down in my description. And that's gonna be it for today, guys. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye. Are you translating properly? Oh no, you're the translator. But let's get to it. I've all been witnessing. Oh my god.